So hello, I'm Darby, and I'm going to be working with Helen, which I'll introduce you to soon. We've started to do the primary series, which at the beginning of the primary series is all forward bending. And the concept I'm using to do forward bend is working from the principles of anatomy trains, which is using the whole body as one unit, not separating into legs and arms. We want to connect everything. And as an example, if we, which we've done before, but just to explain it again, if I'm reaching and I have the connection of the reach coming from my middle dantian or from the xiphoid process, and I reach through there, there's going to be effect on the rest of my body. My body's going to react and follow along and also resist and create energy the other way. And the same goes if I use my legs and reach my leg, then there's going to be the same action. It's going to connect to my upper body. So basically, I'm breaking the body into two places. And the middle of the body is here as far as the movement and extension and connection is concerned. It's right at the end of the sternum, generally associated with middle dantian or the heart chakra, depending on where you want to understand where you're working from. But this is the two sides of the body we want to connect to. Of course, the energy comes from the lower dantian. It comes from this area, one hand's width below the navel. Generally in Sanskrit, it's called the khanda. In Chinese or Asian languages, for lower dantian. And this is what we engage or connect to. And from there, the source of all the energy and the source of all the nervous system, all the nadis, originates from here. In fact, this is what it's called in Chinese, the source, the beginning of all the meridians and the energy, the beginning of qi. So we need to connect to here. And from here, it moves up and we go through the middle dantian to create the movement, to create the power. So in martial arts, they work from here, but the power comes from up here. So they combine both. So it's very, very important. And we're basically looking, as I said, the body reaching in one direction, connecting to the other, much like a rubber band. So we have this rubber band that's going to lengthen. You can see with one long rubber band how easy it is to extend. The extension's pretty good, much more easier to extend, less strength needed to extend the rubber band. So the problem arises when we don't have these connections to the middle dantian. If we block it, so by having the shoulder forward, if we reach, now we're only working from the shoulder, and you can see my arm doesn't even straighten. There's no more connection to the rest of my body. It just blocks in my shoulder. So it's like having a rubber band this long, which I'm trying to stretch and extend. It takes much more strength to move it, and it's not going very fast, whereas this is very easy to move. So this is the principle of what we're trying to work with in our connective tissue in the body. And when we have this connection happening, then a flow of qi will happen much more easier. I'm going to go through it later. I'll go through the 7 steps, but one of the steps is the shoulders. It's a very important place to look at. The shoulders that are always open. And this is going to allow us then to keep the chest open and also give us support for the lungs. So I'll talk more about this when we do pranayama, how the lungs are affected by the shape of the body. So that's just a little basics. So when we're doing forward bends, I want to be able to move from here and come forward. And yet I still want to maintain the lower dantian. And we showed you in Paschimattanasana an easy way of getting it by just touching the feet, lifting up, and then trying to lift. And already just this action of lifting, the legs react and engage. And that's all we need to do to engage the muscle. We don't need to tighten any muscles. We don't need to do anything else. Just let it happen naturally from the lift. Once we have that, then we extend up. And if we move basically from here, the sides lift here and reach forward, there becomes the motion of a forward bend, which we've done in standing postures. And we showed you in Paschimattanasana. And the basic of it, the basic principle we're using in this connective tissue of a rubber band, but also the use of the lower dantian, which in the Ashtanga world we call the bandha. Darby Joyce calls it khanda, the bulb, the little bulb that's here. That's what it has to describe the bulb. And from there, everything grows. So we need to maintain that. It's almost the way to engage it as if, which isn't very nice thing to say, but it's the same principle we use when we throw up. If you throw up or even hiccup, this lower abdomen draws back and lifts up. That's the feeling we want. What we need to do is maintain it. We maintain that feeling there. It doesn't have to be hard, it's just maintain and fold forward, body relaxed, and that's how the forward bend should happen. Okay, so I'm going to ask Helen to come in and we'll show that principle again. We showed you in Paschimattanasana. So again, all you do to engage the legs is touch the feet and then fingers on the floor and lift up. Just press lift up. She lifts up. As soon as that happens, her legs activated. They did exactly what they needed to do to support the body. It's just a natural thing that happens. It's very natural. And that's all we needed. You don't need to pull the kneecaps up. You don't have to engage the quadriceps. It just happened the exact amount you needed. From there, you do the same thing without the hands touching the floor. And that will, and you start to see the lower abdomen coming in and lifting. And from there, she now reaches forward and maintains this lower abdomen. So the movement is going to come from here. So she moves in, the ribs move in, and she moves forward. And you don't even need the hands. I'm going to keep the hands in the air. She can touch me, and she can actually push and go down. And you can see the shape of the spine. Nice, smooth spine. Very different from doing this flat back. And she just needs to let the shoulder blades be a little bit more relaxed. So from here, the shoulder blade comes back. And so she reaches forward. If she was going to put the hands down and pull, she's actually going to pull the shoulder blade back and then reach the head forward. So this is going back. This will still draw the body forward. The head will go naturally. But what's going to happen in the tailbone, the sitting bones are going to go down. So we're going to create this rubber band effect here along the spine. In fact, it'll go all the way to the feet and then come around up to the back. So we have this connection all the way from one hand to the other. And that would be understanding the forward movement, the connective tissue of a forward bend. There are other ways to experience this kind of rubber band effect. Helen doesn't know what I'm going to do this, but I'm going to ask her to stick her tongue out. Sit up, stick her tongue out, and reach your tongue to her feet. So you try and reach your tongue. Head down, and you just try and reach with the tongue. And this is an amazing thing that you'll feel it in the toes. The more you reach the tongue to the feet, the more the toes will just activate. And then you can come up, lift the tongue up, and let the tongue lift you up. And when you go down, take the tongue down. So it goes down, not sticking up, and reach it down. And the body will follow. So this is, somebody was actually doing this practice, calling it tongue yoga. There's an article about tongue yoga. You can see it if you turn your tongue and take it to the side of to the left side, and reach it. Your body's going to follow it. Take it to the right, and your body wants to follow. Try it. Take it. That's why she doesn't have a microphone. So you just take your tongue, or you reach your tongue, whatever direction you reach your tongue, the body wants to follow. So there's a connection which is actually coming from anatomy trains. With a cadaver, they cut a cadaver and took the connective tissue from the feet all the way up, and it ended up connecting to the tongue. It was one piece of fabric, one rubber band was coming from the toe to the tongue. And if we move the tongue, it's connected to the toes. Okay. Thank you. Again, understanding the principles of how we're working, that we're reaching tongue yoga, tongue forward, turn, look up with the tongue, and the head wants to turn. It's a good, nice little experiment to understand these principles, that we're going to be working with this throughout, and we've already been working through it, but throughout the whole period of the instructions we give. Thank you very much. Hopefully this will give you some insight into how we're going to work. Sweet.